Look closely at the road today, and you will see a battle raging in plain sight. It's not a battle between Ford, Chevy, and Dodge. It is a battle of generations. A clash between two completely different philosophies of what an American machine should be. On one side of the intersection, you have the modern marvel. A brand new $80,000 luxury pickup truck. It's got a panoramic sunroof, a 14-inch glowing touchscreen, radar cruise control, and leather seats sourced from the finest cows on earth. On the other side, waiting at the exact same red light, is a $5,000 beater. A faded, 30-year-old square-body workhorse with a manual transmission, crank windows, and a tailgate that rattles when it idles. On paper, this isn't a fair fight. The dealership brochures will tell you the new truck destroys the old one in horsepower, torque, towing capacity, and 0 to 60 times. But out here in the real world, the dealership brochures are lying to you. Because when you put these two machines head-to-head in the only tests that actually matter to a working man, the $80,000 spaceship doesn't just lose, it embarrasses itself. Let's start with the most basic test of a pickup truck, the payload of anxiety. When you buy a truck, you are buying a tool. Its entire purpose for existing is to haul heavy, dirty, jagged things from point A to point B. Imagine you are standing at a hardware store with a ton of rough cinder blocks, some loose gravel, and a pile of sharp scrap metal. If you own that $5,000 old truck, you don't even blink. You throw that concrete into the steel bed, you let it scratch the faded paint, you let the gravel dent the wheel wells. The truck doesn't care, and more importantly, you don't care. It's a tool doing its job. You have absolute peace of mind. Now, imagine pulling up to that same pile of concrete in an $80,000 luxury truck. Your stomach drops. You are terrified of scratching the fragile aluminum bed. You are sweating over the high-gloss paint job. You carefully lay down moving blankets like you're putting a baby to sleep. You realize, in a moment of brutal clarity, that you are protecting the truck. The truck is not serving you. You paid $80,000 for a machine that you are legally and financially terrified to use for its intended purpose. You didn't buy a workhorse. You bought a pavement princess held hostage by a bank. But the physical anxiety is just the beginning. The real devastation happens when we look at the invisible math. Let's talk about the insurance and registration trap. The auto industry wants you to focus exclusively on that $1,000 monthly payment, but they desperately hide the secondary costs of driving a rolling supercomputer. When you owe the bank $80,000 for a vehicle, they don't let you just buy liability insurance. They force you to carry premium, full coverage policies. Depending on your state, you are easily bleeding out another $200 to $300 a month just to legally keep the truck on the road. And then, the local government steps in. Because your truck is valued at a premium luxury price, your annual registration fees and property taxes skyrocket. You are paying thousands of dollars a year in taxes just for the privilege of parking it in your own driveway. Now, look at the guy in the $5,000 classic truck. He owns the title free and clear. He runs basic liability insurance for $30 a month. His registration is practically pennies because the state views his truck as an aged piece of equipment. He isn't working overtime just to pay an insurance actuary. He is keeping his hard-earned money in his own pocket. And that brings us to the biggest marketing lie of the modern era, the off-road illusion. Every single automaker today sells a rugged, aggressive-looking off-road package. They slap big decals on the bed that say TRD, FX4, or Z71. The commercials show these brand new trucks flying over sand dunes and crawling up jagged mountain trails, surrounded by mud and glory. But what happens when the average guy actually takes his $80,000 luxury truck on a real, overgrown trail? Panic sets in. Modern trucks are completely covered in delicate technology. The front bumpers are loaded with radar sensors for the cruise control. The mirrors have 360-degree cameras. The tailgates have automated drop sensors. If you scrape a tree branch or tap a rock in a modern truck, you aren't just putting a dent in a piece of steel. You are shattering a network of highly sensitive electronics. A minor bump that would take 5 minutes to hammer out on a classic truck turns into a $1,500 recalibration nightmare at a luxury dealership. The guy in the old square body, he actually drives the trail. If he bends the chrome bumper, he ties a chain to a tree, puts it in reverse, and pulls it straight again. He actually gets to experience the rugged independence that the guy in the new truck only gets to watch on his touchscreen display. But the real slaughter happens when we pop the hoods. Walk over to that $5,000 beater and lift the heavy steel hood. What do you see? You see an engine. You see iron blocks, mechanical fuel pumps, and thick rubber hoses. There is so much empty space in that engine bay, you could practically stand inside it with your boots on to change a spark plug. If something goes wrong on the side of the highway, you can diagnose it with your eyes and your hands. You can fix it with a basic socket set and a $20 part from a local auto store. The machine makes sense. It is a logical, honest piece of engineering. Now, walk over to the modern $80,000 truck and pop the hood. What do you see? Nothing. You see a massive, cheap plastic engine cover designed to hide a terrifying labyrinth of fragile wiring harnesses and delicate digital sensors. There is no room to turn a wrench. There is no mechanical linkage you can adjust. If that truck stalls on the highway, you cannot fix it. Even if you are a master mechanic with 30 years of experience, you are helpless. Because the failure isn't mechanical, it's digital. A tiny 40-cent microchip located deep inside the transmission casing got too hot, and it told the main computer to put the entire vehicle into limp mode. Your $80,000 powerhouse has just been disabled by a piece of technology the size of a fingernail. And that failure leads directly to the ultimate head-to-head test: the cost of survival. Let's say both of these trucks suffer a major failure on a Tuesday afternoon. For the classic $5,000 truck, the repair goes like this: you tow it home. You call your buddy. You buy a rebuilt starter or a heavy-duty alternator for a couple of $100. You spend your Saturday drinking a cold one in the driveway, turning wrenches, getting your hands dirty. By Sunday morning, the truck is back on the road, stronger than ever. For the modern truck, the repair is a financial nightmare. You have to tow it to the dealership, because they are the only ones with the proprietary, copyrighted software required to even speak to the truck's computer. You wait 3 weeks for a diagnostic test, and then the service manager in a clean polo shirt hands you an invoice. It turns out, you can't just replace the broken sensor. You have to replace the entire integrated electronic module. That will be $3,200, plus labor. While you are paying $1,000 a month on your 7-year truck loan, you are now hit with a $3,000 ransom fee just to get it out of the shop. You are bleeding out financially, caught in a trap designed by Silicon Valley engineers who have never hauled a load of firewood in their entire lives. But perhaps the greatest tragedy in all of this isn't the money. It is the loss of culture. For generations, the American driveway was a classroom. It was the place where a father stood over an open-engine bay with his son, handed him a wrench, and taught him how a machine worked. It was a rite of passage. It taught patience, problem-solving, and the quiet pride of fixing something with your own 2 hands. You cannot pass those skills down with a modern truck. You cannot teach a kid how a machine works when the manufacturer has legally locked you out of repairing it. We traded a generational culture of self-reliance for the temporary convenience of an iPad mounted on the dashboard. The auto industry wants you to believe that the guy driving the old, faded $5,000 truck is struggling. They want you to look at him at that red light and feel sorry for him because he doesn't have air-conditioned leather seats or a backup camera. But let me tell you a secret. That guy, he is the freest man on the road. He holds the pink slip in his glove box. He doesn't owe a bank a single dime. When he turns the key, he doesn't have to wait for a computer to boot up and give him permission to drive. He owns his machine. The modern truck industry didn't just invent better cup holders and smoother suspensions. They invented a way to turn blue-collar pride into a lifetime subscription model. They convinced a generation of hard-working men that strapping themselves to a mountain of depreciating debt was somehow a symbol of success. It is the greatest illusion ever sold. The old $5,000 beater isn't just a survivor, it is a financial shield. It is proof that a machine built for a purpose will always outlast a machine built for a profit margin. So, I have to ask you, and I want you to be brutally honest down in the comments. If you were handed the keys to an $80,000 modern luxury truck, or the keys and the clean title to a classic, unkillable workhorse, which one are you actually taking home? Let me know below. I read every single one. Make sure you subscribe. Because in the next video, we are going to expose the dirtiest trick the dealerships use to trap you in that shiny new truck before you even sign the paperwork.